welcome. Class is now in session. All my good students, come to the front of the classroom. All you yahoos and riffraffs, get the hell out or get to the back of the classroom because we're about to learn a little bit. Make sure you hit the like button. This segment is brought to you by Qualis Roofing and Construction. Make sure if you're looking for a new roof, which is a free roof inspection, you go see my friends at Qualis Roofing and Construction.
Free DLLS t-shirt just for getting the inspection.
If you get a roof done, you get a whole new Traeger grill or
Blackstone.
Blackstone, Blackstone.
One or the
black
other.
top, one or the other. All right. So I don't know if you guys have heard or not lately, but everyone is around the football world is talking about George Pickens and the Cowboys offense and George Pickens running this slant. And through 13 weeks, you see just how potent this slant route has been for the Cowboys offense. George Pickens has run 40 of these things. He's been targeted 24 times. He has 19 receptions, 295 yards, and 159 yards after the catch. A little yak yards. All that right there being in first in the National Football League. Funny stat that John showed me this morning. He said, Jesse, do you know who the number 2 person in the league is at running slants? And we all start like listing off names. I'm like, who? This person, that's one. He's like, no. Jake Ferguson.
Okay.
Jake Ferguson's the number 2 slant runner in the entire league. He said, do you know how many times they've thrown they've thrown Ferguson the ball in the slant route that he's run?
Whole bunch.
Yeah, sure. I mean, he is one of the league leaders in tight ends and receptions.
A lot of catches.
I'm sure he's caught multiple slant routes.
Yep, a lot of them.
Oh, none.
AKA Jake Ferguson runs slants while the other guys run slants to get a guy out of the way.
Yeah, we call that for the love of the game. And so we head to the film. And what I want you to see right here is that George Pickens is running this slant and then in multiple different looks. Right here, you see George Pickens. That's off and outside coverage. The cornerback's butt to the sideline, which, I mean, when that comes to the line of scrimmage and he sees that, he's almost salivating, waiting for this ball to be snapped because he knows it's going to be a completion. We also see George Pickens facing, we have the next one.
Hold on. I lost it.
You lost it. All right, we can stay right here. That's fine. We can stay right here. Do you need to? Okay. All right. Or, so we have George Pickens right here against the Chiefs. You see this coverage right here. Now, I said how they keep letting them run the slant. As you can see right now, this DB is really pretty much set in press coverage and a little bit off to the outside of George Pickens. So, again, Dak Prescott looks out there and he says to himself, George Pickens, against these level of coverages, I like my chances.
Yes.
George Pickens. Remember, 2 weeks ago, we did George Pickens and his catch radius, 6'3", 6'4", long arms. So the catch radius for George Pickens is just absolutely phenomenal. And I went and I looked up what is on average in the National Football League, the percentage of completion when you're running different routes. And I went and found the slant route, and the slant route is a little over, if we're rounding up to the nearest 10, 69% of the time when people run slants in the National Football League, it's completed.
Okay.
Right? And opposed to the go route, which is around 25, 26% of the time people run go routes down the sideline, it is completed. So anytime you're doing anything in the passing game that's around 70% completion percentage, it's a damn good route. So we want to break down how George Pickens is running these slant routes right here and just some of the concepts that the Cowboys are using to get him open. As you see right here, George Pickens, bottom of the numbers, and you have Kevontae Turpin in motion. Now, why is Kevontae Turpin in motion? Well, what we have in the slant concept, you have the slant and then you have some sort of out route coming underneath that. Why is the out route so important? It's because it's going to drag that linebacker. It's going to drag him out of coverage to the flat so that window for Dak Prescott opens up a little bit more. So as you see right here, Kevontae Turpin goes in motion. You can already see that linebacker is beginning his trek to cover the flat. That's what it looked like right there. And the sweet spot right there where that star is at is right where that linebacker is standing. Right behind him is where you want to hit that before that safety can come down and interfere with that route. Any good slant runner, you're going to hear, hey, stay flat, because I don't want the receiver to drift up the field to get closer to that driving safety that's coming down trying to cover it. And sometimes you'll have in a game, as you'll see here, George Pickens comes off and you'll have your best corner on your football team guess the wrong route. Someone here forgot to do what they were supposed to do because I have a linebacker and I have a cornerback all jumping this quick out route by KaVontae Turpin.
Got a double terp.
Yeah, got a double terp.
Don't worry about Pickens.
Look at just hold that picture right there, John. Go to that right there. Hold that picture right there. Look at the spacing that George Pickens has to catch this football. This is what we call pitch and catch. They make this pass and this completion just playing around. Look at that window. There's nothing obstructing the quarterback's view. He doesn't have to throw around anybody. He doesn't have to throw over anybody. I mean, it is this is the 70% completion percentage when you have this level of throw.
About 98
This will be about 99.99999% completion when you have that level. And then the thing that we showed you early on was 159 yards yak is because when George Pickens catch the ball right here, that safety ain't going to catch him off the rip. That linebacker ain't going to be able to catch him off the rip. He's probably going to put his foot in the ground, maybe spin back out. He likes to do that, or come out the backside of that thing. All right, now we go to what it looks like in press coverage. Now, this is press coverage, and you heard George Pickens say earlier this week, hey, listen, it's inevitable that they're going to try to stop this slant route, but I have releases for everything. I have releases for off and outside, off and straight up, press outside, press inside, two-man, cover two. He has releases for everything. And again, you're going to see him work the same thing right here. Now, you don't have the motion this time to get that linebacker out here. You have for Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson has run this route about 30-something times this year.
It's coming, Jake. It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming, 30-something times this year. Has gotten the ball 0 times. Jake is running for the love of the game route. His job is to take the inside eye of that linebacker just to get him to turn ever so slightly to create that wider window for Dak Prescott to throw into George Pickens. Now, when George Pickens comes off the ball, he's going to give that outside foot release like he's running the go route, because all I want that cornerback to do is to be ever so aggressively stepping outside to not allow me to get outside of him. Once George Pickens does that, as you can see, outside foot out on the outside of your foot, you're going to lean that way, and I'm going to win back inside. And this thing is happening simultaneously. See Jake Ferguson take the eyes and the body
Jakey.
Of that tight end, of that linebacker. That safety backs off a little bit, and you have another one of those wide windows for Dak Prescott to just so effortlessly and easily throw to George Pickens in that window. 6'3", 6'4", large catch radius where that ball can just be anywhere. And that pass right there, when you look at it, is even behind George Pickens. But because that window is so large, the DB is so far off, the safety is not bearing down on him, and the linebacker isn't closing in for him to knock his head off. And this is what they have been able to do so much. You had brought up a stat to us earlier talking about when we were talking at the table between George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb running slants all year long.
George Pickens, and technically you could do the math on the graphic that we put up, I guess, because it is the same number. But George Pickens is targeted on 60% of the slants that he runs, which is the highest number in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what threw me off is the fact that is first, running 40 slants, because the number based on how many routes he runs a slant less than 10% of the time, which means nobody in the league runs a slant 10% of the time, which seems weird to me. But whatever. So like the reason that it's not like, oh my God, we have to stop him from running this route is because he runs it 10% of the time. Right? 90% of the time he's doing something else. It just feels like he runs it all the time because they throw it every time he runs it. And the second most targeted is CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb, when he runs a slant, gets the ball 56% of the time, which does mean that Jake Ferguson, his job on those plays is probably on almost all of them also run a slant.
Yeah.
And there is zero chance for throwing it to you. You are getting in the way and moving people out of the way for these dudes.
Yeah, Jake Ferguson is either running the inside slant or he's responsible for running that out route that you saw KaVontae Turpin running. Still the same thing to pull that linebacker out of that particular hole. So, so like Jeff was saying, when the Cowboys call a slant, they're throwing it every single time to one of those dudes.
Yeah.
It is good when the play comes into the huddle. Cavante, Tolbert, Flournoy, Ferg, Schoolmaker.
Ferg's catching a slant this week.
Who else is there?
Don't worry about
Mingo,
it. Brevin Spanford.
Mingo.
Spanford, Sprint, Jesse Holley. It doesn't make a difference. When they call it, one or two of those studs, they're throwing it to one of those dudes. And again, at that particular rate, they're talking about 70% and 60% of the time, it's a completion. So when you see those two dudes running a slant route, and we said it earlier, Coach Schottenheimer, tongue-in-cheek, said in the post in his press conference this week, he said, yeah, I reached out to the Detroit Lions defensive coordinator and I let him know, hey, guys, guess what?
We're doing this.
We're doing it again.
We're gonna run which tells me that play number one,
slug.
slant and go.